Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You can see here I'm not on my normal table where I do my reviews. I've got a whole bunch of car parts on there. I'm doing a brushless upgrade to that FC610 truck, so I'm just using this bed here because I want to get this dash cam reviewed. Surfola sent me several dash cams recently. I did I think the 310 last week, and I got the 510. I also got the 710, and I want to get this reviewed. This is another one of their dash cams. It's dual front and rear. It's got a front camera, a rear camera, and this one's pretty similar to the 310, but this is a 1080p front camera and a 720p rear camera. The other one was a 1440p or 2K front and 720 rear camera, but this one has Wi-Fi, so you can broadcast your video and download the video to an app, and I'll show you guys that here in a moment. But let's go ahead and open it up, take a look at the dash cam and rear cam and all the cables that comes with it. And then we get outside to do the actual test footage of the dash cam. So this is how it looks like when it comes packaged. Now I have had it open and I've charged up the camera. These cameras, all these dash cams, you want to supply power to them, but they can't operate for a short while off the internal battery. Part of that's because they have a parking mode, which basically is like sort of a theft deterrent. It will record video if there's any sudden vibrations in the car, and of course that has to be powered off of the internal battery because the dash cam is not being powered at the time when the car is off. So here's your instruction manual. Here is the cables and the camera. So let's take a look at the camera. Just pull it out of this little plastic piece it's sitting in, and it comes in a little bag. And here is the camera. Looks, pretty nice, and the screen here, as you guys will see in a moment, is actually really has a really nice clarity to the screen. So you've got some buttons along the side here. Let's just make sure that we got this all focused in. You have a power, and this is like a mode button, and this looks like a microphone and your Wi-Fi. Now these middle buttons are like your navigation buttons. And you've got a button here. The Wi-Fi is like the select, and the power is the return back to the previous menu. So I'll show you guys that here in a moment. And you have your micro SD card slot here on the side. Of course, this does not come with a micro SD card, so you do have to supply that yourself. So this may not be super easy to see because I just have several lights in here, so I apologize if the lighting is sort of poor. So let's go ahead and we'll look at the dash cam, and then we'll look at the accessories and the cables here in a moment. So you want to hold that power button down, and it's going to pop up the Surfola branding. Of course, it's asking you to insert an SD card since there's not one in there. You get your WDR is showing up. It's a wide dynamic range, 3-minute loop recording, and some other symbols here, audio, your Wi-Fi symbol. It says the audio is off, so let me see if I press it. Does it turn it on? Yes. Now it'd be recording that. So that's one thing to keep in mind. The other camera, the 310, always recorded audio. So I do have to remember that. Most people don't really care about the audio on these dash cams, but I like to test the mics when I'm doing my tests. And as you saw in the last video, we can see why these microphones are usually off because the audio was terrible. But the video was not too bad at all. Then your micro SD card symbol, letting us know we need to insert one. And again, this stuff is probably not showing up very good in the video. And your battery meter. This is your license plate, so you can put your license plate in here, and then it will actually save that like a watermark to your video file, and that lets you sort of label your video. Hey, that's my car, my file. Especially for insurance, that's really beneficial. Your date and time over here, which I already did when I took this out earlier, so I've already got that set. So let's go ahead, and to get into the menu, I believe you press that second button down. You get your video recording. Photograph is just going to your photo mode if you want to take a photo. Not people are going to do that. That's not going to be too common on a dash cam. Your playback to play back the file. So if you want to see a preview on the camera, you can. In your settings. So the only one you really look at is going to be that settings. So you get over to that, and then I think you press this bottom one, and then you got camera settings, and you got system settings. So I want to make sure that we got this focused in, and I actually bumped that. Let's go back. So first we'll go into is the camera settings. Your resolution here, you can change this if you want, down to 720p if you like. Your resolution, again, this is your megapixels. Just leave it at 12, but you do have 8 or 5. That'll make smaller. That's more for like your photos, if you wanted to take the resolution of your photos. Loop recording, you can change between 1 and 3 minutes. Video and audio, if you want to turn the audio, you know, if the mic is going to be enabled, even though, as you saw there, you said to hit a button to turn it on the side. Picture in picture, or you can go split screen, front or rear camera. That's when you're using the rear camera. You can show it picture in picture, or you can have a half the screen, the front, half the rear, or you can just show the front, or you can just show the rear. Motion detection is going to, you know, if it detects motion, it'll start recording. Gravity sensor, you can change the sensitivity on that. Between low, medium, high, it's set to low by default. That is, if you're in an accident, it will lock the file. It wants to know how sensitive do you want it to be. You probably want it low, because you don't want it to lock files if you just hit the brakes hard. Parking guard, that's going to be off by default. You have to turn that on before you park your car. You might do that if you're going to park like at an airport or something. You can leave your car unattended for a while. You could turn this on, and it basically, if the gyro inside your, you know, I'm shaking it now. If the gyro picks up vibration of the car, like say someone breaking the windows or breaking in your car, the camera will start recording. But again, it's just going to be recording the front and the rear, so it's not going to record the side of your car. But it still provides some level of safety. Headlight warning. Now this is something instruction manual does not tell you what it means. Looking online, there's very little information, but what I can gather is it's sort of sensing headlights, I believe, from a car coming the other way at night, and it will beep at you or give you some sort of a warning. I guess it's to let you know a car's coming. I don't think it's something anybody wants to use. People complain about how do I turn this off because they don't know what it is. The other brands like 8Man and some other of these cameras have this, and it sounds like it's something no one uses because it's just always beeping at you. Wide dynamic range on or off, and that's all those settings. And you can go back and go to your system settings. You have your auto power off, and you can go in here and you can set it to off 1 or 3 minutes. Your screensaver on or off, the beep sounds, the boot up sound, the language you set. That they ask you to set the language when you first start it up. 50 or 60 hertz on the frequency. You can set your date and time, timestamp. There's where you set the license plate. That's set to on, so you need to go in and actually set the license plate, which I've not done yet. And then it says your license plate. Actually, this is where you set the number. If you have it on or off, and then you set the number. And then you can format the SD card, and you can set it back to the default factory settings. And then you've got the version of the firmware. So that's pretty much all the stuff inside the menus. So what I want to do at this point is I want to show you guys how to connect to that Wi-Fi app, and then we'll get outside and actually show you some sample footage of the cameras. But we also want to show you the accessories. You know, let's actually connect to the Wi-Fi, and then I'll show you the accessories and cables, and then we'll get on outside. So what you need to do is, it shows the Wi-Fi off and on symbol down here. You have to press that button. It is turned on, but it seems like you have to be in this menu, at least that's what I can gather, to actually get it to connect to the Wi-Fi and show up on your phone. So you just go into your phones, and you want to go into your, once you're in that menu, go into your settings, go to your network, and you should find the Surfola in here, Surfola SD510 with some numbers after it. Mine says 6758. I'm not doing a screen recording, so I don't know how well this is going to show up on the video. So if you don't see it too well, just have to listen to what I say. Press that, and let's see, is it connected? It's connecting. Now Android a lot of times will say the first time you do this, you need to say, hey, I know it's okay, I don't have internet, so you have to go ahead and accept that, and then you're done with it. So I've already done that. So I'm connected now. It says no internet. It knows you don't have it. And then at this point, we should be connected. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the app. The app is called the Roadcam app. Now they mentioned there's another app you can use. I know the 810 also mentions another one. There's probably several different apps you can use with this. The one they recommend is the Roadcam app. So you go ahead and open that up. And then when you get on the main page, you can see I had it open before on device. You click on this, it shows you Surfola, and you click on it, and hopefully it'll come up. And yeah, look at that, it connected really quick that time. Sometimes it takes a really long time. So you can see I'm looking around the back of the bed here, the wall, and you're connected. Now you can click video and it'll look at the video files in there, and you can actually download or save those directly rather than actually pulling the SD card out of the camera. And if you go down, let's see, you can click between photo and video mode here. And there should be a way, I think it's settings up here, this gear icon. You can change the settings here, which is pretty nice. You can change the resolution, the sensitivity, the gyro, turn that parking monitor on, cyclic recording. You can change most of the settings of the camera within the app. So you don't have to sit there and mess with going through the menus. This would be really easy if you were in the car and you wanted to change something while you're in the car before you start driving, rather than pulling it off or trying to fiddle around with the menus with it up mounted on the dash, the window. You could just hit the Wi-Fi button, connect to the Wi-Fi, and away you go. All right, that should be enough of that. We're done looking at the live preview in the app. So again, that's called the Road Cam app. Now let's look at the accessories and cables, and then we'll get on outside for some test footage. And like I said, we'll test that mic as well, though. If it's like the other one, the mic is going to probably be really bad. Again, I don't think that's a big deal because you shouldn't really need audio very often on these. But if it is, I'll just include some Christmas music or something to go along with it. So here is the rear camera. This is just like the 310's camera. Unfortunately, with this adhesive here, you do have to mount this on the outside of your car, which is not ideal. Someone could pull it off or mess with it. You're exposed to the elements. But you know, it'll probably be okay for a while, but I prefer to have one on the inside. Now, in the test video you see coming up, I'm going to certainly attach this on the inside to like a headrest or something. So it won't be the best mounting location, but that way I don't have to permanently mount it just for a sample video today. But you could certainly try to come up with something to aim this out your back window. That's what I would recommend. I know the 810 that I have, that one appears to have one you can mount on the inside. So if you can go up in price, with them, you'll get a one that you don't have to mount outside, which is better. This does pull apart, so you can go mount this and get it set up where you want, then run the wire to it and plug it in. So you don't have to fish the camera around your car to get into the back window. So that is a nice that they thought of that. This is a little crowbar deal that lets you tuck and pull back along the trim of your car to tuck the wire in. So it's a little just handy tool that they include. I know on the 310 I didn't know what it was, and obviously I figured it out later, so that's why I know for this one. You get a USB-C cable, that's for like charging the camera. And you get a lighter adapter power cable. This actually is USB-C as well. This powers it while it's in the car. And then they give a little pin that just went flying. This is a little reset pin. If the camera would lock up, you press it into this little, these little holes. One's the mic and one is the reset right here. And that will reset the camera completely and restart it. And your suction cup mount. You need to pull this little film off the mount so that it will adhere to the window. And then you can twist this little lever between unlock and lock. So you push it to the window, then flip it over to lock. And you're locked in the it will slide into the top here and mount on the top of the actual camera. Okay, I think that's everything that comes with this. I think we've covered all the necessary stuff we need to cover, and you can hear the camera turn off now. I figured it was going to do that any moment. So at this point, let's go on out and get some sample footage, and I'll try to include that mic test and see how everything looks. Really quickly, this does record 1080p at 30 is what they advertise. Some of the other ones do 25, so hopefully this is 30. It's a little smoother playback. 1080p ought to record and play back pretty smoothly. Where if we get to some of these other cameras that go up in resolution, they don't always do what they say in terms of they upscale and stuff, and then you end up with a lower frame rate or choppy playback because it can drop data. So make sure you use a class 10 micro SD card with this so you don't risk dropping frames. And we'll see if this does 30 frames per second. I'll try to include some text overlay to let you guys know what the actual frames per second is in Windows that I get when I play this thing back on the computer. And we'll see how this camera looks. So I'll be right back, guys, and we'll have some of that footage for you, and then we'll end the video. So thanks a lot for watching. All right, guys, I want to take the Surfola 510 out now for some test footage. I'm testing the internal mic. I know this is probably not going to sound good, but I always like to test the mic. And I'm doing it here while I'm parked because I know once we get to the road noise, it's probably just going, if it's like the last one, it's just going to blow out all my voice and you won't hear a word I say. But at least we can test the mic under parked conditions. So let's go ahead and we'll take it out for a test drive. I'm going to go ahead and drive out a ways and I'll join you guys again once I get to the highway. Alright guys, pulling out on the highway here. I just want to do a quick mic test again just to see if it's getting blown out by the road noise, which I assume it's probably going to. Really beautiful day here today. Very warm, in the mid-50s right now. Just 2 days before Christmas. A very slow driver. Gets some elderly person in front of us here. And we'll see how that rear camera works. That is a 720p rear camera. And of course, the front camera is 1080p. And you guys saw that it has the Wi-Fi support, so you can connect and download. Don't have to worry about an SD card if you don't want to. So at this point, let's just go ahead and roll over some Christmas music or something like that, and rather than listen to me blab. Alright guys, as you can see, that roundabout over there is a clownabout. There's always somebody not paying attention. I have to go around it to come back towards my place, and that lady coming up there, I saw her coming, she was the only car, and she just assumed I was going to go right. Like no one's going to ever go left out of there. And she came fairly close. I mean, I didn't have to lay on the horn, but what's the odds some sort of close, not real close, to an accident because somebody wasn't paying attention. It's just unbelievable. I've already sent footage before of another person doing something more daring, of shooting right in front of me there, and then they cut behind, businesses to get around the stoplight. Much worse than what this lady just wasn't paying attention. And I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but it is what it is. It's just anytime you go through there and you go a direction like that that's not common, people just anticipate you're not going to, and they don't pay attention. Alright guys, that wraps up the review of the SD510 by Surfola. This is 1080p Wi-Fi enabled dash cam. From what I can see, it looks pretty decent. I know the rear camera, the way I got it mounted, may not be the best, especially with glare, but that's just to give you guys sort of an idea of what you can do. You obviously want to mount it better than what I did there. Alright guys, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Most of the stuff I do is RC related, but I do occasionally do something like this. If you're new, also click that bell. It notifies you every time I upload. You get notified that I did upload a new video. And as always guys, have a wonderful day.
the power of the dark side.